and then go broadcast at 10 a.m.
Okay.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us for a smartphone photography webinar with João Carlos. My name is Sai and I'll be your host today. Some quick housekeeping items before we move ahead with the presentation. On your screen to the left is the GoToWebinar viewer through which you will see the presentation. To the right is the GoToWebinar control panel where you can select audio mode and ask questions. Our presentation today will last for about 40 minutes, after which we'll be open for Q&A. As we go through the webinar, please leave us your questions in the questions box you see on your control panel, and we will answer as many questions as time permits. Last but not the least, this webinar will be recorded and sent to you via email in 48 hours. With the housekeeping items aside, let's move on to the webinar. We're privileged to have João Carlos as our presenter today. João is a SanDisk Extreme Team member and a Hasselblad Masters Award winner. João also recently shot an entire high-end fashion shoot with just mobile devices. Today, he's going to share with us his tips on mastering the mobile phone camera. With no further ado, I will hand it to João, who will take us through the presentation.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. And I'd just like to start off by thanking SanDisk for inviting me to be a member of the Extreme team, and also for me to be able to present my mobile photography and a little bit of my work. I think it's going to be a great day today, and I guess let me get to it. So as I said, I am a fashion and advertising photographer. I work around the world, and it's interesting because about 2 years ago I was invited by SanDisk to do a project when I first started using my phone, and since then my mobile photography has really been a big part of my work, of my workflow, of my day journal. I don't go anywhere without my phone, so the expression, the best camera to have with you is the one, or the best camera to have is the one you have with you. And my phone is pretty much what I always have on with me. So I able to get really awesome shots, thankfully, because of that. Like I said, usually I shoot a lot of fashion, advertising, I'm doing beauty, I'm working with a lot of high-end models, big-end productions. But again, when you're using your phone, I mean, everything has changed, everything is really different. The first series of images I'd like to show before I start getting into tips and tricks and showing a little bit of the gear and what can be used is this series of images. So till now we've been seeing a lot of my fashion photography, a lot of my advertising photography, but the following images I'm going to be showing you now is were all created using only mobile devices. So this is a full-blown editorial like you'd have for any normal shoot. I've got models, I've got hair, I've got location scouting, I've got big production. The only difference is that I'm using my actual phone to not only capture the video, capture the stills, but then to edit the video and the stills. So I actually have a little video that will show you the behind the scenes of this whole shoot, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll be back right after the video.
Still red, she was left for dead. Not a dime to her name, just got pockets full of shame. Wandering round at night, asking for nothing but a light. Thinking this just ain't right. She does cigarette, a place to stay. Lay my head down, just make my day. Get through me, just get on, get right, just get my down. Lose no walking the ground, just another day in this town. Shattered clothes and shattered past. It's amazing she even laughed to tell a story that gets some laughs tonight. How the hell did she turn into the girl she did not want to be? Wondering where she went wrong, why she makes no money singing out as that skywalking song. She's like my father, my faith, God gave me a break. I drowned and I burned and I lost and I burned and my soul is just wasted. I hope I can make it. Oh well. It's amazing she even laughs to tell a story that gets some laughs tonight. How the hell did she turn into the girl she did not want to be? Wondering where she went wrong, why she makes no money singing out as that skywalking song. She's like my father, my faith, God gave me a break. I drowned and I burned and I lost and I burned and my soul is just wasted. I hope I can make it.
So the video that you guys just saw now was, again, created only using mobile devices. Obviously, me being a professional photographer, I have a tendency to go out and beyond and use maybe some of the equipment that isn't normal for most people to have. But the market does have certain solutions that are really great in that sense, that are a little bit more inexpensive, excuse me, that are a little bit more inexpensive and that are still very pretty awesome creative gear. So real quick, I'm going to go over some of the gear and some of my favorite gear that is useful when you're using mobile devices. And I think by using these tools, you can then really take your mobile photography to the next level. So again, these are some of my preferences, and it goes everything from lenses to batteries to memory storage solutions, obviously supplied by SanDisk. I wouldn't have it any other way. And let me kind of run it through one by one. So I think when you start photographing using your mobile phone, and I think everyone eventually, a lot of people do start also shooting video, it's very important to be able to have a tripod. And I use big camera tripods, I use monopods, but I use tripods that are usually a lot larger than you'd use on your normal phone. This is a great little tripod out in the market. It's tiny, it's very versatile, and what I've actually been using it, and I'm going to be showing you guys another video, is I've been shooting DSLR video and stills, and then shooting shooting video and stills also using my mobile device. So I've actually adapted my tripod to the top of my camera, and I use it that way. So I'm able to do both at the same time. I did that for a shoot in the Caribbean, and it was quite handy, and I think a tripod is probably one of the first pieces of gear that you should get. Next piece of gear, for all of you that are using phones that have embedded in memory, this is something that I used at the beginning of the year, and I take it with me everywhere I go from SanDisk, It's a SanDisk Wireless Connect. And this flash drive instantly adds up to 64 gigabyte of extra storage space to your iPad, iPhone, Kindle Fire, or Android. And basically, you've got a micro SD in this USB drive, and it creates a wireless network anywhere in the world. It doesn't make a difference if you're in the middle of the ocean, if you're in the middle of the desert. It connects between your phone, your iPad, to this device, and you can upload, download, you can view from it. This, for me, has been a lifesaver. One of my mobile devices, I've got an iPhone. It has embedded memory. It's a small card. I think it only has 16 gigabytes worth of memory embedded in it. And this was an awesome solution to be able to go and have all my images, all my videos, pictures, music. I mean, I've got everything, films stored on this, and I'm traveling, and I can just stream to it and from it. So I really love the wireless Connect drive. Also, when you start shooting a lot of videos and a lot of pictures, you'll find that your phone's battery dies pretty quick. I found that my batteries usually die before my memory does, especially if I'm using the new SanDisk micro SD 128 gigabyte cards. So since my battery's dying so quick, I've found a bunch of different battery solutions. This one is great. This is the Anker Astro Mini. And this is a tiny, it's a little bit larger than a lighter, and it can fit in your pocket pretty much anywhere, and it'll give you at least another extra 9 hours of talk and another 90 hours of audio playback if you're, let's say, on an iPhone. So I've got an Anker this size, and I've got a larger IQ Anker, which I can have, I think, up to 4 different devices plugged in. So if you're using your iPad to also take pictures, for example, or 3 or 4 other different mobile devices, you can plug them all up into the same battery. So definitely I urge everyone to go out and get extra batteries because your batteries go pretty quick. Next is lenses. The quality of the lenses on your phones aren't that great. The lens actually on the camera that's facing us when you do selfies isn't that great. So an awesome solution is actually go out, and you've got a bunch of different camera brands that have created these different lenses. Some are smaller, some are a little bit more compact and easier. This is the Joâo clip, and it's a 4-in-1. So they've got a fisheye, a wide angle, and then they have a 10 times and a 15 times macro. This is really great, again, because it's a small lens. It clips onto your phone pretty much anywhere you can go, or anywhere you want to go on the run, on the go. So this is a great little lens. But there's also a great lens solution kit. I've used this before, and I like it a lot, which is the iPro Lens series. And this is great because it comes with 3 different lenses, a protective phone case. The lenses is a macro, a super wide, and 2 telephotos. And then it's got this little handle where you can put your phone on that handle, and your lenses are actually all held in that little handle. So it's the case, the handle, it all comes together. This is a great upgrade from your phone's normal lens kit. And then finally, this is one of my new favorite toys. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar or not with Lens Baby. Lens Baby, they've made lenses usually for 35mm cameras, and it's a lens that's on it's like on a swivel, on a rotation, where you can move it around, and it creates this great blur effect. Well, Lens Baby have created the creative focal lens for smartphones. And it creates that sweet spot effect with everything blurred and out of focus around it. It's just a ton of fun. I mean, I really love the lens. They've just launched it, and it's small, a lot smaller than some of the previous lenses that I've showed you. Okay, it's one very specific effect, but this will definitely take you apart from the rest of the crowd that are using their normal phones or their normal camera phones, lenses, sorry. This is something that I've actually used to adapt quite well as a trigger, or as another way to hold my phone, is the Pro Grip Handle by Westcott. And normally this is used for lights, but I've taken this and I've put my smartphone on it, and I've used it to shoot stills and video. So it's a different type of grip. It gives you a lot more stability, and especially if you're doing video and you want to get motion shots, tracking shots, stuff like that, this is great, handy. It's quite inexpensive, and definitely something that not everybody's using. And I think this is the biggest game changer right here, is for all of you that have, again, that you're using phones that don't have, that have a slot where you can put a micro SD inside. You can add this extra memory to it. And this is the new SanDisk Ultra 128 gigabyte card. This is the largest capacity card in the industry. In the next video that I'm going to show you guys, had the opportunity to travel to the Caribbean, and I was testing out this card, and it's really just amazing. I mean, you know, before I'd go through 1 day, 2 days of shooting, my phone would get full. With this, I mean, it's 128 gigabytes of storage solution that fits on a card that's the size of my fingernail. So it's pretty incredible, the technology. You know, if you go back maybe 5 years, the first micro SD card had 128 megabytes, and now we have 128 gigabytes. So it's really incredible to see the evolution that SanDisk in itself has had over the years. In the first video, my fashion video, you guys saw a lot of the movements were done with a slider. I'm using a slightly larger slider in my video, but the Mobi slider is a slider created for mobile devices. So this is a great little portable slider that'll, again, make your homemade video that much more interesting. So here I have some, moving on from the gear and going into a little bit of more of my work and what I've shot. These are some images that I did at the beginning of the year. I had the opportunity to photograph the world's largest tall ships using SanDisk micro SDs, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. So this, for me, was an amazing, amazing experience. I, again, have to thank SanDisk for giving me the chance to go and use some of their products. And then I was invited to film a 30-second and 60-second commercial for the Star Clipper and the Royal Clipper. These are the two ships that you see on this next slide. But I was also invited by an app developer to go out and test their app and shoot some stills and shoot some video and kind of try it out. So I took the opportunity to not only shoot DSLR footage, but I actually shot mobile phone stills and video throughout the whole one-week excursion throughout the Caribbean. For me, what was really amazing was that I found myself, first of all, using mostly my phone, and second, creating images and doing things that I could only do using the phone, such as the panoramics. It was a lot easier for me to do a panoramic shot using the phone. So this is the video version. The first video I showed you all was the mobile, the phone, and I basically composited a video of the 2,000 or 3,000 pictures that I did during the trip. And then not only was I shooting stills, but I'm also shooting video. So as you see, I had an awesome time traveling in the Caribbean. And again, I'm using a mix of mobile devices that have a slot to be able to put a micro SD card inside, and I'm using mobile devices that don't have that capability. So here I'm using the SanDisk Wireless Connect to be able to download images and video while I'm shooting so I can continue shooting. In this video, I'm actually also using the SanDisk micro SDs in GoPro. And a GoPro is not exactly a cell phone, but it's a great little toy also to be creative and to kind of get some other shots. So again, like I was saying before, what I find that's really amazing about using about mobile photography is that here, for example, I've got images where I'm literally shooting video and taking stills at the same time. That doesn't work as well when I'm using my DSLR camera. I'm able to make panoramics on the spot. I'm also, one of the things that I love the most about using my phone is actually editing the pictures. I have a selection of different apps, which I'm going to talk about next. And what I found was I travel a lot. I'm always either on a plane, in an airport, on a train. And it's a great way for me to work on my images, to be able to share my images, because I'm editing everything on the spot on my phone. So here you see me now downloading all my content. And again, this is an amazing trip. And really, I mean, it's all shot using mostly mobile phones, except the aerial footage is all using mobile phones. So it's really incredible what you can do nowadays. So after seeing these two videos, I've hoped I've inspired you guys a little bit to get out there. And next, I'd like to talk about some of my favorite apps. Now, apps, there are a lot of apps in the market. I'd say there are about 10 million camera apps for the iPhone approximately. Again, some are great, some are specialized, some are complete waste of your time. And again, this is all a personal selection of what I use. And I find that I'll go and I'll try a lot of different apps. I'll download a lot of apps. But I always find that I'm using the same 3 or 4 applications. There's nothing wrong with editing your pictures. Again, I think you can use a filter for a cool vintage feel. You can crop some of the area that you don't want out of your picture. You can create a fun collage. I mean, here you see this is a cute little kitty cat in the bottom right-hand picture. That was a shot as I saw it. Then I went and I put it through a filter, I think Aviary on the left, and then I went and I put it through another application, another filter. I like to mix up my apps, and I got the fun ones that you see on the top. So again, using a filter doesn't always mean that you're trying to hide something or you're not being you. You can just add a little something special to the image. I was actually doing a recording. This could be me right now, but I was doing a voiceover for a video, and I took a selfie. The light wasn't that great. I went into one of my applications, did some tweaking, and I think it came out to a much nicer picture. So some of my favorite apps are the following. I really enjoy 645 Pro. And 645 Pro, actually you can take a high image quality digital RAW and TIFF files, and you have total and full control of your camera phone like you would your normal camera. So everything from ISO to color balance, you've got a night mode, you can even configure your spot metering. Another thing I like about it is that you can have different formats. So I can shoot in a 6x6 or 6x9 or 6x17. So it really gives me that sensation that I'm actually using a real phone, a real camera instead of my phone. So 645 Pro, one of my favorites. Another favorite, if you're shooting video, is actually Filmic Pro. So this turns your mobile device into a broadcast-worthy HD video camera. It gives you 4x zoom, full HD. You've got accelerated motion effects. You've got slow motion effects. You can create your own customizable presets. It's got fast capture. It's even got standard sync audio. I mean, it's really mind-blowing. This is one of the first apps that I started using for video, and I don't use anything else. I mean, this is my go-to video app. I've done behind the scenes using this app. My fashion film and my Caribbean sailing film, the video portions of it were all used Filmic Pro. So it's a great little app also. As far as editing my pictures go, Snapseed is one of my favorites. Again, it's fun. It's got easy to adjust your pictures. You've got one tap autocorrect. You can tweak your photo to perfection. You can tune the image. It's got a series of different filters that you can choose those different filters. You can combine filters. So I really like Snapseed a lot. I find I'll usually, probably most times, I'll use Snapseed and I'll use PS Express. So Photoshop Express for your phone is, again, another great tool. I use Photoshop when I'm editing my regular pictures on a day-to-day basis, and to be able to have Photoshop on my phone is just awesome. You straighten, rotate. I mean, you can remove red eye, one-touch adjustments for exposure, white balance. I mean, you can pretty much do everything you want. Plus, they've got over 20 effects. You can buy more effects and more filters if you like. I'm going to show you guys some images. This is just some fun stuff where I'll go and I'll photograph an image and then I'll put it through a filter, and I'll create some different effects with it. So again, this is more of an illustration, all using PS Express on my phone. I also love black and white photography. A lot of my work, my professional work, is black and white. And when clients, they commission just a black and white portrait for me, I love that. So for me to be able to go and take black and white pictures, I'm taking black and white photographs all the time on my phone. If you guys will notice, my pictures are a little bit from everywhere. You know, I've got Paris here, I've got Lisbon, I've got New York. So I'm traveling all over the place, and I've got my camera in my pocket. I see something interesting, I take it out, I take a snap. You know, the quality, again, I'm not printing billboards with my phone. I love my iPhoneography just because it's a great way to share and just to have some fun. It's also a great way to kind of keep those creative juices going. I also find that because I'm using a phone and because it's so small, it allows me to get closer to my subjects. It allows me to, you know, to be less visible. I mean, if I'm holding around my big DSLR or my medium format camera, automatically people are going to see that right away. So this kind of, you know, smaller camera makes it a little easier. One of my other favorite apps is Aviary, which is interesting about what happens to me, I guess, is that I'll find maybe 1 or 2 filters from an app that I really like. I find that I'll use those filters over and over, and then what I end up doing is I'll end up adding, again, 1 filter from this app, then I'll go and I'll throw the same image into Photoshop Express, use another filter, and create a new and more unique image. A big player of the apps, obviously, is Instagram. Instagram is, again, for me, it's most interesting just because of the network, the possibilities of sharing in the community. You guys can find me on João Carlos Photo on Instagram, and I've actually turned my Instagram into my day in the life project, and it's basically a day journal of my travels, my behind the scenes, of where I'm going, and I also like to keep those, again, those creative juices kind of flowing. So I'll photograph, or I'll try to make a point of posting 1 new picture every day to Instagram. So that means by the end of the year, I'll go and I'll have 365 new pictures that I've taken. I might have a theme, I might not, it depends. But for me, just to get out there and shoot 1 new picture a day is great. So I invite all of you to add my Instagram and you know, send me your Instagram profile names so I can add yours also. As far as the effects go on Instagram, normally I'll edit them using, again, other applications like Aviary or PS Express, and then what I'll do is I'll throw it into Instagram, recrop it because of the 6x6 format, and send it off that way. I don't really use Instagram for editing because I want something that's a little bit more unique, more that has kind of my flow and my feel to it, so I'll mix it up. Or else, you know, with everybody using Instagram, we'll all have the same type of pictures and same filters. So those are a little bit of my favorite apps, and this is a huge theme going around now, which is the selfie. And the selfie, I think, is quite interesting. I, you know, take selfies with my friends, with my students. I really love them. And I'm not sure if you guys know, but the first photographic portrait image of a human ever produced was by Robert Cornelius. And it's his head, shoulders. So this is the first selfie is a daguerreotype from 1839. So it's kind of interesting how the evolution of the selfie has happened. I mean, we've always had self-portraits. The great painters had self-portraits, and it's quite interesting to see how we've been able to now evolve and kind of take it to the next step in the selfie. So here are some of my quick tips about selfies. And again, a selfie is great because we can share them on Facebook, on Instagram, on Tumblrs. This sign actually reads Portuguese for anybody listening. It means know yourself. And this is a mirror quite close to my studio where I walk by every day, and I took a bunch of different pictures here. And so, you know, it's always fun. I like using mirrors to take selfies. I think I can get a little bit better quality out of it. It really all depends. So selfies are great. Again, you know, if you're going to take a selfie, I think you should be smiling or making some kind of silly face. That's the kind of the point of it. So here are with me and some of my good friends. At the top is Danny Linehan. He's a photographer and owner of 311 Thing. Here's Deanne Fitzmaurice. She's a world-renowned photojournalist, Pulitzer Prize-winning photographer. And below, another awesome photographer, her husband, Kurt Rogers. Again, as I go through my travels, I meet with my friends. You know, I'm taking a selfie here and there. And the selfie on the bottom in color, I think that was me at maybe one of the SanDisk booths, probably at Photo Expo in New York. So when you're taking a selfie, or any photo for that matter, there's something that we can't forget is lighting. Lighting is crucial. You can't really show off your best smile because you've got bad lighting or distractive or unattractive, unflattering light. So you really need to find that best light and look for the light. So this goes with any type of photography. So this selfie here, I'm using Ice Lights by Westcott, which is probably not your average selfie lights, but I was working with a reporter for a magazine, and we were photographing a famous Brazilian actor. And in his changing room before he went on the show, he was going to do a show at a big theater, stand-up comic, we went and we took a selfie. As you can see, we're both photographing the selfie, so it's always good fun. Lighting is really important. Again, I like silly selfies. I'm known for my Cheshire smile, my thumbs up, because I'm trying to be a really positive person all the time. But I love silliness all around that happens with the selfies, and more group selfies are more interesting. So, for example, here in the top left corner, that's an elevator selfie, and I was with my team. I've got models and makeup artists, hairstylists, assistants, cameramen, and we're all in the elevator going on set, and I took a selfie. That's actually at the end of the day. The top right-hand corner are two really good friends of mine, two awesome, amazing photographers, David Newton and Marcel Lemerett. They're also members of the Extreme team, and that's us taking a selfie up top. And then the bottom left-hand corner, I was on a photo shoot with a world-class long-distance swimmer, and we've got that shot there. And then the bottom right-hand corner, that's during one of my classes. I'm also a teacher. I'm an educator at a couple of different schools around the world. This is a class that I just did on fashion photography, and those were some of my students at the end of the class. So again, group selfies are really great. But when you're taking a picture, and no matter if it's a selfie, no matter if it's just a regular picture that you're taking, your background is really important. We really need to be aware of our surroundings. And for example, this is a terrible, terrible selfie of myself. I photographed it in the bathroom against the mirror. You've got the urinal in the back of me. This, I thought it was interesting because there was a ukulele in the restroom, and I grabbed that and I kind of played it and took the snap. Again, it's one of those funny things, but normally it wouldn't be something that I'd go and I'd share. I would say that you'd want a clear background when you're taking a selfie. The less information, the better, and you really got to be careful for what's in your surroundings. People forget that we need to look for our best angle when you're taking a selfie. In this case, probably should have had some sunglasses because there's a little bit too much light, but always try to look for your best angle. Don't be afraid to take more than one picture. It's digital, so we can take multiple shots, and then you go back, pick the one that you want, and edit that one and tweak that picture. This is great, which is photobombing. So you really got to be careful with photobombing. As you can see from this series, my friends see me taking a picture and they jump in and they take shots. Now, I love it because I think that the photobombing can be really cool. You can get your friends together and that photobombing turns into group selfies. But be careful for any unwanted culprits in your background. This is just an interesting, fun group of selfies that are a little different. I'm using mirrors again. They're group pictures. And if you see in the top right-hand corner, I'm with my friends. I think I'm with Susan and Neil up there, and they're actually both taking pictures at the same time. So this becomes almost addictive, I know a lot of people are out there looking for the perfect selfie. So I say just continue to shoot and just have fun with it. This is one of my favorite selfies, which I still consider a selfie, which is the POV, or the point of view. And it's great to kind of set the mood. This was my first day of summer. I was at the beach, and I kind of wanted to share with my friends and followers and family, the wonderful day that it was. And so it's the point of view selfie. And the point of view, that can be, let's say, a shadow. It could be your feet. Whatever makes for an interesting picture, I say go for it. Again, you put some filters on that, put an interesting border around it, and you just created a really cool new profile picture. So not forgetting all my applications, this is actually a really fun app for selfies, and I recommend it to everyone, which is the self-timer camera. So basically, you can put your phone on a tripod, like I said before, or you could put it up somewhere on the tripod so it doesn't fall over like mine just did, and you put the self-timer, count it out perfectly, and you can get that selfie without having the camera in front of you, without using the mirror. So the self-timer app is pretty cool. Also, and this is something that I actually just remembered that's a pretty cool tip, is most people don't know, if you're using your normal, let's say your headphones for the iPhone, well, the up or down button, when you use those and they're installed and you have your camera app open, that actually works as a trigger. So you can trigger your phone from a distance using your earphones. So I'm going to go over some other quick tips, and I hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. So when you're doing portraits, I'd really say that we must pay attention to the background, and the background is really important. I'd say a cleaner looking background is great. Also, I love adding a little bit of, I'll change the focus point on my images. A lot of the applications like Instagram and Photoshop, you can actually do a selective area of what you want in focus or out of focus, and that's been something really great to be able to use. So I love doing that. It makes some fun pictures all the time. This is an incredible shot. This is Psy, the singer from who sings Gangnam Style, and I was in a club in Barcelona. I was there for a job. I'm walking around with some friends, and suddenly, the celebrity walks in with his massive entourage. If I had my normal camera with me, first of all, I wouldn't be able to walk around in a club with it, and second, I wouldn't have been able to get close to him. Like this, I had my phone, I took it out, I took a quick snap, and I got a pretty interesting shot. Again, these are some more portraits. These are some shadows, and this first image they're coming in that's just really pretty. The one on the right top-hand corner, I just love that little bit of light coming in. It's kind of dramatic. And the one on the bottom, that shows you a little bit of that selective focus that I was talking about earlier also. Here, just some random street pictures that I have. Again, all of these pictures are really possible because I'm walking around with a phone and I don't have a big camera that's a bit intrusive. And this is a little bit more on my stealth mode. And this is a key tip that I think a lot of people forget about, is you need to keep your lenses clean. There's nothing worse than you getting this once-in-a-lifetime moment. You're photographing it on your phone or even on your regular camera for that matter, and you notice that your lenses is really dirty and it's not as clear and it's not as crisp as you'd like. So keep your lenses clean, and that goes for the front lens and the back lens. Also, I love shooting different patterns, lines. We need to change our perspective when shooting, I see a pattern on the ground or I see tiles and I'll photograph those, and those are always really fun. So I think we've come about to the end of our presentation. We're going to follow with a short Q&A, and I'll be able to go and show some other images throughout the Q&A.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Joao. That was a great presentation. I had no idea there were so many accessories for a smartphone camera, frankly. I learned quite a lot, and I hope our audience did too. With that, we come to the end of the webinar, and we're now open for Q&A. Please drop us your questions if you haven't already done so. And Joao, we're having a lot of good questions coming in already, so I'm going to jump right in.
All right, awesome.
Are you ready for the first one? All right. So yeah, sure. This one's from Lisa. Is it possible to isolate a still photo from a video in iPhone 5? Is there any app for that, or do you know how to do it?
Okay, I don't know of any apps. Normally when I'm shooting video, I'll go and I'll actually shoot a still at the same time. To actually isolate a frame, depending on what you're editing with, if you're doing it with, let's say, Premiere or Final Cut, you should be able to go and isolate a frame. But mind you, the quality of that frame probably won't be that great.
Cool. Thank you. The next one's from Christopher. What unique elements do smartphone cams bring to photography? I know we touched upon this a little bit with you having the phone in a club and taking it out and getting a good photo. But what are the unique elements to smartphones bring?
Okay, well, for me, I think one of the unique elements is the fact that I can shoot video and shoot stills at the same time. So I'm doing video, and you can take stills, and those stills will be really great quality. Another thing I love is the ease to, let's say, shoot a panoramic, which if I'm photographing, let's say, with my DSLR, I need a tripod. I'm going to do maybe 8 to 10 to 12 to 20 different images. I'm going to have to throw those into Photoshop, stitch all those together. For me to take a panoramic with my phone, it basically takes less than 10 seconds. It's just that swaying movement, and you get the shot. You can edit it and share it right away. So I guess it's probably the best thing is instant gratification. And then, again, the panoramic, I think, is a great feature, and the possibility to be able to shoot video and stills with really great quality also.
Absolutely. The next one's from Kim. Out of curiosity, what was the mobile phone you're using with your, I think, the model photo shoot and a couple of other ones too?
Okay, so I've used a bunch of different mobile phones to really kind of see what works best for me. For that model shoot video, I used 3 different phones, and I used a Samsung Galaxy 3 with SanDisk microSD memory. I used a a Sony Xperia Z, also with SanDisk microSD, and I used an iPhone 5. For my sailing video, I used Samsung Galaxy 4s with the new 128 microSD cards, and I also used an iPhone 5.
All right, perfect. Kim, hope you got that. The next one's from George, and this is an interesting question. By mobile devices, do you also include portable tablets and tablets like iPads? What is your experience with them?
Okay, so actually my experience is while I was shooting the video and the stills for the Caribbean trip, one of my team, one of the elements of the team, he was actually doing a lot of his footage using an iPad. And it's really incredible. So you've got some tablets out there now that have support systems where you can handhold them, you can rig them with audio, you can rig them with different lenses. So there's, like for example, Filmic Pro, the app that I talked about earlier, you can use that on the iPad also for filming. So there's a lot of tablets out there that are being used for filming, and they're creating a lot of different accessories for those different apps, tablets. I personally think a tablet, for me to walk around with a tablet is a bit big. I prefer to walk around with my normal phone instead, or I'm sorry, with my normal camera instead. But if you've got a tablet, you can definitely take some cool shots with it.
Cool, that makes sense. The next one's from James. And this is about picture quality. So since you're still taking the pictures through your camera's lens, and then through an additional lens on top of that, don't you experience quality loss? I think this was when you showed the lens on the camera.
The lenses.
Yeah.
No, actually, it's quite the opposite. Because you're photographing through better quality lens, it actually makes up for better quality images. There really is a big difference between what you can see using one of those creative lenses or using just your normal phone lens. Cool. So it's the exact opposite. It actually bumps up the quality.
I had that question too, so that was good. The next one's from Jasmine. So I think this is about the gadgets you were showing earlier, the Westcott gun and a couple of the lenses. So are they just for iPhones, or they can go on other smartphones like the Samsung Galaxy stuff?
No, they can go on pretty much anything. So for example, the Westcott, the gun and some of the tripods, like the tripod, all that has is like a suction type coil that wraps around your phone, so you can put that on any different phone. All of these different products, except I'm not sure for the lenses, but all the extra gadgets, those are universal. The lenses, you have to see what make and lens or what camera you have or phone you have. and what lenses are created for those phones specifically.
All right, perfect.
I hope that wasn't too confusing, sorry.
The next one is from Alexander too, and then see, I have the question too. So, and I've heard this a lot about megapixels. So, what do megapixels mean in the phone? The more megapixels, does that mean quality or just the size of the picture? Can you talk a little about that?
Right. Well, megapixels, I mean, when it comes down to sensors, again, it comes down to sensor size, lens size, and the quality of both of those. I think where we've gone now and where the technology has come, the lenses that are out there are really the top quality for that size in the phones. You've got some really amazing cameras, or phones with some really amazing lenses. Now the question, I guess, is does more pixel mean better resolution images? Yes and no. I think if you're photographing in a situation where you have really good controlled lighting, your image will always be a lot better, and you'll take it'll take less pixel power out of your phones to take a better image. If you're shooting in poor lighting conditions and you're going to try to blow that picture up really big, again, you're going to feel all that grain and the grittiness. So it really all depends. Now, the largest I've ever printed a picture using my mobile device was probably maybe a 15 by 25 print, and that's something that I really recommend. I actually used a printer. We did a project, one of the projects that we did with SanDisk, we actually printed out the images from my fashion shoot and used my normal photographic laboratory, and they do photo albums and photo books, and we literally, we printed a book using, like you do normal pictures, only mobile devices, and the quality is just amazing. If you go to my Vimeo, you can see the behind-the-scenes video of the printing of that, and the quality is really great. But again, it's nothing larger than like a 15 by 25. You know, I'm not going to be out there shooting a lot of magazine covers, and I'm not going to be out there shooting, you know, big prints, big commercial TV, or big commercial ads that are going to be in billboards and stuff with my phone. But I think it was Dan Winter's press photographer, if I'm not mistaken, 2 years ago, won one of the World Press Photo Awards using only mobile devices. So he was using cell phone pictures. I think he was using an iPhone 4 at the time, and he won a World Press Photo with those pictures. So it comes down to it that it's really not about the equipment that you use. It's all about how you use it and your content.
All right, cool. Thank you. Thank you, Joao. The next one is from Rajiv. How do you edit and compile video clips on an iPhone? Any app suggestions for videos?
Okay. So you can use something as simple as iMovie to do that. And iMovie has an online version. I'm sorry, they have an iPhone or a cell phone version that you can do that. So iMovie is a great option. And then I still prefer to do most of my video editing on either Final Cut or Premiere. But I know there's a new commercial that was just out for a car brand that was entirely shot and edited also on a mobile device. And they used, if I'm not mistaken, also iMovie to do that.
All right. The next one's from Vincent. This is a little tricky. How do you capture high-speed objects with phone cameras, or can you?
Oh, actually, see, I should have shown that in my presentation, but I don't do a lot of high-speed stuff. But you can actually, so most camera phones right now, nowadays, have burst mode. And even your iPhone, if you're using it, if you take your phone, you open up your camera, and you just hold down on the trigger, that'll take a series of series of shots, sequences. So if you're doing, high action stuff, you can do it that way. I mentioned in one of my clips, fellow SanDisk Extreme team member Marcel Lemeret. He photographed and did some video of some awesome snowboarders last year, and he's got a sequence of, I think it's 18 or 19 different images composited into one shot, all done on his phone. I'm sure that you can find those videos on the SanDisk YouTube page. And that's an awesome video because you can really see how you can catch high speed using your phone.
Oh, is that true? So you can just open up your basic camera app
Your
that comes
basic
with, and then
camera
just
app,
hold
you
down
hold,
the, wow.
hold down the shutter, and you're taking burst. It's a
Oh,
built-in burst mode.
that's interesting.
And my presentation has been done for a couple of days now, but yesterday, iOS, if I'm not mistaken, they just did a series of updates.
Mm-hmm.
So right now you have stuff like time lapses that it didn't have before, slow motion. So right now your native camera has a lot more functions than it did just a couple of days ago.
Cool.
Yeah. So your normal phone, most phones right now do have burst modes in them. Like the Samsung Galaxy 4, that had an awesome burst mode, and Dave Newton, another fellow Extreme team member, he shot a video at the beginning of the year with the rally driver in Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
And he was actually able to shoot video, high-speed video, and stills, again, all using the phone. And I want to say he was using a Nokia. And that has like some special burst mode in it that's just ridiculously fast also. So some cameras have them have a special burst mode. You can get some apps for that. But again, I think your native camera should be pretty good. All you got to do is just hold down on your trigger.
Cool. All right, thank you. That was helpful. The next one is from Michelle. And could you talk a little bit about exposure for phones and lighting?
Sure. Well, exposure, again, a little trick is normally, for example, the images that I have here, like this image of Paris that I'm showing now, that was a really rainy, cloudy day. And what I did was I actually I exposed for the railing, which was a little dark. So I'll expose for, let's say, a darker area so that image will open up, will be a little bit brighter, or I'll expose for a darker area in my image so that my image will be a little bit darker. I think that if you can control that, you can then go in and tweak it afterwards when you throw it into your apps. Don't expect to get the shot right away. You always have to, like regular photography, really throw it into Photoshop or throw it into an app and do some tweaking after that. But exposing, I would expose for lighter areas or dark areas. For example, let's say you want to photograph clouds, excuse me, and you've got the sun coming in. I'd expose for a slightly darker area to compensate for those brighter spots. So it's really all about compensating.
Cool. The next one is, I think, a little bit about lighting too. Is it possible to photo a sunset both from outside and inside looking out? I think more, when there's glare, how do you deal with that?
Wait, I'm sorry, what was the question?
So I think the question is about how do you shoot sunset and more about, glare on the lens. So if there's glare on the lens, if there's an angle you want to choose.
Well, I like using flares. I think flare, so when the sun shines right directly into your lens, that creates a flare. I actually think flares can be really interesting and make for a much more interesting final picture. So if I see a flare that I like, I'll use that to my advantage instead of trying to take it away. As far as reflections go, let's say if you're photographing through, you're on a train and you want to photograph through the window, quick tip there would be if you have any casings on your camera, take all the casings off, and if you put your camera's lens as close to the window as possible, leaving no distance between the lens and the window, that should reduce all your flares or any mirrored images or anything that might be reflected off the mirrors or through the windows.
Sure. Thank you, Joe. The next one is all for all the Xperia users out there. So the question is about Xperia Z, and do you mostly use the superior auto feature, or take your time to make the adjustments yourself?
No, I take the time to make the adjustments. Again, I'm still very much old school. I think it's great that we have all of this technology, but I still want to be in total control of what's happening with what I'm doing. So I'll go and I'll take a little bit of that extra time.
Cool. I think we spoke about cleaning the lenses. I think there was a question on how often do you clean, how do you suggest we clean the lenses without scratches? And
okay, so I use a a regular lens cleaner. So you've got those cloths that you'll use to clean your eyeglasses. I'll use one of those, and I'll just gently, in a counterclockwise, rub it across my lenses and clean them that way. As long as it's like a 100% cotton type fiber that's not rough, that's really all you need.
Thank you, Joao.
Make sure, obviously, that you don't have any dust or grit, because then you will scratch your lens. So kind of, you can maybe blow on it first if you've got any larger dust deposits, you can clean them away that way, and then just with a simple cloth, just clean away the lens in a counterclockwise rotation.
All right, and we're coming close, so we'll take one last question, Joao. There's a lot of questions, and wow. So I think the last one we'll take is from Sunil, and it's about how important is the lens aperture size that comes with standard phones. What would be a good size? Aperture.
Wait, I'm sorry.
How important is the lens aperture size that comes with standard phones? And what would be a good size?
Again, I think it really all depends on what you want to do. For example, I won't use a zoom that much. I prefer a wide angle. So let's say the angle on my normal mobile phone, the mobile device, is let's say like a 90-degree angle of what it captures. I want to get, let's say, a 180 or a 140. So I want to use a wider angle lens that's going to give me extra information. So I love taking sunset pictures, landscape pictures with my phone. It's kind of part of my day-to-day travels. And the wider the lens, the better. But again, let's say you've got your kids are at Little League, or they're playing baseball or soccer, and you can't get right up on the pitch, you can't get as close. You might want to get a zoom lens that'll adapt to that. Because one thing I will say is, don't zoom in on your phone. Your phones do zoom, but that takes away a lot of quality. So I prefer to crop if I have to. But the zooming in from your lens or from your camera, that'll take away a lot of the quality of your final picture. So zooming is kind of something that you want to stay away from.
All right. Thanks a lot, Joao. I know we're out of time here, so and there's been an overwhelming response. So thank you all for joining us for the webinar today.
I would say if there's a lot more questions that people want to ask, you can follow me on my my João Carlos Photography Facebook page, or I don't know, maybe they can ask some of the questions on the SanDisk Extreme Team page, and I can answer follow up there.
Absolutely, and that's what I was going to say. So please definitely follow Joao, and feel free to ask all questions on his Twitter account or Facebook account as well. So thanks a lot for joining, and hope you have a great rest of the day. We'll see you in a future series. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.